This might be one of the best television weeks of college football this season. Matt DeBerry, Dean Legge, Ryan Curley giving you all the picks that you should listen to and maybe go away from over time here. Maybe listen to Ryan, not Matt. Let's start with Ryan. Yeah. It's been rough out there for Matt particularly, but for me too. LSU goes to Vanderbilt. The LSU Tigers, Ryan, are a 1.5 dog is what we got it at. Our friends at BetQL, we'll update that a little bit more over time here, but they're a 1.5 underdog in Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. That's a noon kick on ABC.
Not worried about environment for LSU. I think we know that Vanderbilt doesn't pose a hostile environment, especially with all that construction that's going down there. There's a lot going on up in Nashville. I've been riding with LSU a lot this season, but I think this is kind of the end of the line for me picking them here, at least the end of a streak. I'm going with Vanderbilt at home. LSU's offense just continues to struggle. I felt good about the -9.5 last week against South Carolina, partially because South Carolina can't score either. And that had a lot to do with it. But I just think they're going to go on the road, and I feel like LSU might trip up here. I do not trust the team the way I thought I would, and I'm going with Vanderbilt, who's had a couple weeks off and wants to bounce back.
Yeah, I think Ryan nailed it. I do. I think Vanderbilt's going to win this game. They have
Damn.
a week off. Tennessee can't score, and Vanderbilt can. Vanderbilt has a quarterback. They've got an older, veteran-led team. This is a good, well-coached team. I think it's going to be tough for LSU to get over there and score enough points to win this game. I like Vanderbilt at home. I think they're going to win, and I'm going to take the doors to cover, Dean.
Yeah, I am too. Just for the record, we got this line at 1.5. It's at 2.5 right now. Our friends at BetQL though are saying that LSU is about a half a point better. I think the model is wrong on that deal. 86% of the sharp money is on the Vanderbilt Commodores, which tells you something. I'll take Vanderbilt as well. I hear you on the construction aspect, Ryan, but got to do it at some point. I don't know what Vanderbilt's supposed to do. Georgia Tech. This is another curious one. I might be reading this wrong, in my brain. Number 12 Georgia Tech goes to Duke. Ryan, what's your story here?
Yeah, Duke's favored. I've seen them both, and I like Tech better, and so I like taking the better team with the points. And I don't really think that I'm overthinking that one here. Tech's good, man, and this schedule is favorable for them to set themselves up to sneak into the college football playoff later on this season. That Georgia game now on Black Friday in Mercedes-Benz Stadium is gearing up more and more to have real playoff implications, especially with how the SEC has been beating itself up so far. There's a chance that Georgia needs that game to get into the playoff, depending on what its conference schedule is and whether or not it's in the SEC championship game. But I think as far as this matchup goes, I do like Duke's quarterback. I do think that it's a solid team and that they're playing well right now, coming off of a couple big wins, but Tech's a little bit more battle tested, and I think they're going to go on the road, and they've already dealt with that. And I will take the points and for them to win a close game.
I'm going to take Duke at home. They really impressed across the country at California. They clobbered Syracuse on the road. They're finally playing at home. Big ACC game. I like the quarterback. Feels like Duke is really coming into their own. I think Tech has had the better season. They're probably the better team, but I think this is the week where they slip up. They didn't look great on the road at Wake Forest. I think Duke is going to be ready for this one at home. I think that's the biggest advantage from my end. I think Duke gets it done at home and covers that spread. So I'm going to take the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I am now too. You've convinced me. I've just looked at these. I would not be surprised no matter who wins this game. But, Georgia Tech's the number 12 team in the country, and I think their best win is Clemson. I'm not sure if it's Clemson or Colorado. But Georgia Tech's, they're playing. I'm not trying to run that thing down. Boy, they almost lost. They almost earned a loss to Wake Forest. The way they played against Colorado, losing that game would not have been shocking. I thought they would beat Clemson, and they did. They play Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, and Pittsburgh before they play Georgia. They could lose this game and maybe another more or two more. I'm not sure. We're getting a little out in front of our skis with the Jackets. I think they can totally beat Georgia. I get it. I'm not suggesting anything other than that. I'm just saying, I don't know. BetQL's got 90% of the money, y'all, is on the Jackets. That's a lot. So the Oklahoma Sooners are going to go into South Carolina to play the Gamecocks. This is another really good. Like, these games are pretty good early. This is a 12:45 game on the SEC Network. South Carolina is going to host them. They're getting 5.5 points at home. Look, I'm taking Carolina. I don't know if they're going to win this game, Matt. I would not be shocked. Something's not quite right with Oklahoma to me. I don't know what that may be. I've got South Carolina hanging in there in this one.
Yeah, I think I took South Carolina too. I already wrote in my picks and what I thought. I think it's South Carolina. Just too many points. 5.5 at home. Oklahoma's coming off a really tough, bad loss, I would say, to Texas. Now you're asking them to go over to Columbia and win that game by at least 6.
Yeah, you took South
I don't
Carolina.
know. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like either one of these teams really anymore. But South Carolina, in my head, is probably due for a big win that maybe they shouldn't. They're a roller coaster team. Maybe they pull this one out, but I think they'll keep it close. I'm going to take them to cover, not necessarily win, but to cover at home. So I'll take Carolina, Ryan.
Yeah, this is the one when I was looking through these where I just didn't want any part of it at all. So I'm going with South Carolina. I think it's hard to come off of what happened last week. Disaster last week for Oklahoma and the Red River rivalry. It's hard to say that. It's hard to say all three of those R's. At home for Carolina, I don't think they're very good. And it's an offense that has completely struggled and has not been even close to what a lot of people thought it was going to be coming into this season. I do think Oklahoma's defense is solid, but yeah, I'm going to take the points. This one's subject to change for me, though, as the week goes on. I might go in and change this one.
You might
got the Gamecocks for now.
You might read what I write and change your mind. BetQL for the record.
Well, might not like what you have to say this time.
Yeah. BetQL has Carolina as only a 2-point dog, so they're saying you can get some real value with the South Carolina Gamecocks on this game. I don't know. We've got Texas going to Kentucky. Ryan, why don't you get rolling on that one? The Horns are 12.5 point favorite on the road.
Yeah, I'm going with Texas. We can call last week a little bit of a bounce back. It's a good team. So far, it has not been a great team. I think that the talent is clearly there. It's just a matter of if things come together, because this is not a bad football team. Kentucky might be a bad football team. They're not very good. I think that Texas will go up there and get the win. It's tough to play at Lexington at night. I think that we've seen that. So I'm not underrating that necessarily, but Kentucky's just not good. I mean, completely struggled to move the ball against Georgia's first string defense. Half their points come at a garbage time touchdown there at the end. I think Texas goes up there, gets it done. Not necessarily going to cover this line in a pretty way. It could be kind of late, but I think 13 points is manageable.
Yeah, this is a bad Kentucky team, and I don't know how many points they're going to score on this Texas defense. That is legit. You're right. Can be really tricky, as this crew knows, up in Lexington at any part of the day, especially at night. But I don't know. If Texas can't go up there and beat them by 12.5 with that defense, they might be on fraud alert for me. So they're going to win the game. They need to prove. This is a prove it game. You can win by 14 points if you're Texas. That defense is really, really good. It's time for that offense to start rolling. I think this might be the week it starts to click a little bit, but I'm going to jump on that Texas train too with Ryan. I'm going to take Texas to cover.
Yeah, dude, what are you talking about right now, man? You said they can go up there and win by 14? No, they can't.
Yeah, they can.
No, dude, no.
Do it.
Listen, they lost to Florida, okay? They lost to Ohio State. They beat Oklahoma in Red River rivalry, which I don't even know what. That's like middle school dance. You can't ever know what's going to happen there. Texas is not a trustworthy team. I will take the 12 points. I will borderline bet you dinner in Jacksonville, Matt. Which, you know what? Maybe not. But I'll take Kentucky here because I know as bad as Kentucky is, I feel like I know Kentucky. and they will slop it up enough to where Texas wins this game like 17-12 or something like that. I don't like it at all, but I will take the Cats. I'm doing myself no favors doing that, but I am going to take the Cats in this one. Utah, the Holy War. We're going to see Utah travel to BYU. This is a very curious game for me. It's an 8:00 Fox game, so we'll miss some of it. Ryan Curley, who you got in this one? The Beehive State.
Yeah, I wanted to take BYU at first, but I just like Utah better. I do think they're a better team. I know they've got that L. I think in a weird way that'll be good for them. Texas Tech's a pretty good football team. We all watched. That was a noon game on Georgia's first bye week. Red Raiders offense looked really explosive. Utah really struggled, but outside of that game, it's been pretty good for the Utes. I like their quarterback. I like their defense. I think it's a solid team. I don't think BYU is that great. And I think we're going to see that this night. Utah's favored.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but
No, wait now.
win by a touchdown or two, and that's plenty to cover 3.5.
Go ahead. Let me make sure I got that in there. Yeah, Utah is favored by 3.
Because they're the better team, and I think they're going to cover as well. I don't like BYU's quarterback. I just think Utah is playing a lot better right now. BYU is undefeated, but they really haven't been all that impressive. And Utah's wins, it seems like they've played really, really well. They're starting to click. I think they've got the better quarterback. I think they've got the better coach. I think they go on the road and win by at least a touchdown. So Utah's better. So I'm going to take them to cover that 3.5.
They've not been impressive. They essentially, I think, are Georgia Tech in Provo. That's what they are. It's been okay. It's not been unbelievable. I see why Utah has had a good season outside of losing to Texas Tech. They have been solidly good. And I watch a lot of BYU because I'm a sick degenerate, and I see these games. BYU they've been fun games. I wouldn't say that they've been impressive. I will take Utah as well. All right, so this game doesn't have a nickname, Ryan Curley. It's the SC Trojans going to Notre Dame, so the game's going to be on NBC, 7:30. SC is getting 9.5 points. 9.5 points. That's a lot.
Yeah, Notre Dame was the unlucky Irish at the beginning of the season, having to deal with a couple of really good teams in Miami and Texas A&M, but they didn't get it done in either of those games. A bad way to end that A&M game. They've looked really good outside of those games. They go and crush Arkansas. They've been handling the other teams. I just think a little bit too many points for me against a USC team that can score, and I think has one of the better quarterbacks in college football in Jaden Mayava. So I will take the Trojans plus 9.5, not necessarily to win, but I think they'll cover.
Sorry, Ryan, I've got to agree with you. I think USC did a great job of stopping that Michigan running attack and Justice Haynes. I think they might be able to hold down Notre Dame's rushing attack more than others have. If they can, I think they're going to be in this game until the end. I like the quarterback. This is a rivalry game. I think you're going to get USC's best. I think it's going to be a tight game as well. Not sure if they're going to win. I agree with you there, but again, just too many points. I think USC is better than that. That's too many points for me, so I'm going to take the Trojans to keep this one close and cover, Dean.
Completely agree. Loser of this game is probably out of the playoff. SC would have 2 losses at that stage, but they still have plenty left to play this year. So I think, with Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, Oregon, I just don't think USC is going to keep it clean. So I think they'll play as well as they can play. I don't think SC's a bad team. I mean, that one narrow loss to, I think, Illinois was an annoying. Yeah, it was a narrow loss, a 2-point loss to Illinois. It's a pretty annoying loss. Notre Dame has played better. The Sharps are hitting this hard on BetQL. Here's the thing about BetQL is telling me right now. Something's not right about this game. No, they have BetQL has Notre Dame favored by 17. They're only a 9-point favorite. The Sharps are hitting SC really hard. This is probably the game to put some money down on. I'm just not sure where you are going to find value in it, and that's up to you to decide. Here we go. third Saturday in the fall. Excuse me, third Saturday in October. Sorry, Tennessee and Bama people butchering that. It's a really important game. I don't think it's an elimination game necessarily, but it puts everybody on the cusp. Matt DeBerry. We got Tennessee at 8.5-point dogs. This line has jumped. It's kind of played around a little bit. What do you think about this game as it stands right now?
I think Alabama's going to win, but this is another case for me where there's just too many points. I think you could have a backdoor Tennessee cover. I think Tennessee could possibly keep this thing really close if they can get that run game going. I think they could have some success running the football against Alabama. If they do, they could keep this close the entire way. I think if they can hit a big explosive or two in the passing game, that'll keep them hanging around. Alabama's better, and it feels like Tennessee's been real shaky the last two games they've had. Not impressive at all. Whereas Alabama feels like they're playing a little better and better each week. But just too many points for me. I think Alabama can win by probably a touchdown. So I'm going to take them to win, Ryan, but I'm going to take the Vols to cover.
I like Alabama here, and I feel pretty good about it actually. Tennessee's found itself in a close game in all three of these SEC games: home overtime with Georgia, overtime out in Starkville. They let Arkansas kind of claw its way back into it there at the end. I know Alabama was trying to give away that game against Missouri as well, but they're playing better than any team in the conference right now. They look good. It looks like you tell me Ty Simpson's the best quarterback in the country. I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you. There's a couple other guys that I think could be in that argument. I don't think Alabama's going to blow them out, but Tennessee has not shown the ability to separate from any of these SEC schools. Now it's got to go on the road against a hot Alabama team. This is the Vols' toughest test by far. I think that's going to show. I think Alabama wins in the 10 to 17 point range.
Yeah, so just real quick on that note, BetQL is telling us that Alabama should be an 11-point favorite in this game. They're only an 8. The Sharps are hitting Alabama hard. The Sharps love Alabama, though. I will say they kind of overdo it sometimes. I'm going to take Tennessee. I think if you're Tennessee, and I don't know if the players do this, but I do, you look at your schedule and you're like, well, all we got left after this game is Kentucky, Oklahoma, New Mexico State, Vanderbilt, and Florida. We should probably win all those games. And if we win this game, it gives us margin for error. I think Alabama wins. I'm going to take the Vols. Just I don't think they're playing great by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm comfortable grabbing more than a touchdown, particularly in this situation. Georgia hosts the Mississippi Rebels. We got it at 6.5, which I think could be concerning for some of you out there. But there's been, I don't know how much groupthink there's been on this show so far. I'm concerned there could be some here. Ryan, why don't you get us kicked off?
I don't think there's been a ton of groupthink
Okay.
on this particular week. There definitely wasn't on that last pick. I think there's gonna be for this one because I've seen what y'all got.
Well, why? Go ahead.
I like
go ahead.
Georgia.
And then I want to push back on all of us. But go ahead.
Yeah, I like Georgia in this one, 6.5. I just think it's going to be a little bit different of an animal for this LSU offense going on the road. I expect Saturday to be treated by the town as this is, and being a top 10 SEC matchup that really matters. Georgia has a smaller margin for error than Ole Miss. They've got that SEC loss under its belt. They've got a home loss under its belt. People are going to be really frantic to get in there and make this a big environment. I think Georgia will be able to run the football, which it wants to do and wants to do well. And I think Georgia's going to control the clock and the ground game enough to win this game. I don't think it's easy. I think that they barely get this done, but I think Georgia does win by about a touchdown, maybe 10 points.
Yeah, I think the crowd is going to be a big factor here with that Ole Miss quarterback coming in and his big first road SEC environment. I do think Georgia has a good chance of getting that run game going. And I think Georgia's a four-quarter football team. And again, it feels like in a lot of these games, they play better and better as the game goes along. I don't like that for Ole Miss. And I think Georgia's the better team. If this goes to 7.5, I might rethink this, but right now I've got Georgia winning like a 28-21 ball game. I do think Ole Miss will score. I think Georgia's defense will make enough stops, and I think the offense will get something going on the ground that gives them an advantage in the second half and later in the game. So I think Georgia wins this by a touchdown. I'm going to take them to win and cover.
Yeah, we've got it at 6.5. BetQL says this should be at 9, and Caesars had it at 8. Has it at 8. Everybody else has it at 7 or 7.5. Now the sharps have gone from putting the money 50-50, kind of slightly more towards Georgia, to now it's going to Ole Miss because you're getting some points there. But again, we got it at 6.5. We're gonna hit it there. I'd say Georgia. You can read it on Final Feelings. You can read it on our picks on the site. I believe in Georgia way more than I believe in Ole Miss right now. I think that there's some matchup situations that are not great for Georgia not great for Ole Miss, the same way they were not great for Georgia last year. I do trust this Georgia. I feel like we know this Georgia team. I'm not sure I know the Ole Miss team. Lane Kiffin told the SEC Network guys that heading into their Washington State game. That was an important win for Ole Miss. But boy, they look scattered and not great. I think, to me, though, y'all, Mississippi, to push back on all of this, when we start saying, oh, this, and this, I mean, I think that Georgia could win this game by 17 points. But I also feel like they could lose a tight one. I don't know that I believe that. I think they could lose a tight one. How do they lose this game, Ryan?
I mean, I think just it could be the same thing that we've been seeing all year is the inability to score. Georgia's done a good job of taking care of the football, specifically with Gunnar Stockton. It doesn't have a turnover issue. 1 interception on the season. I think 3 lost fumbles on the season, if I'm not mistaken.
One was extremely costly.
One was extremely costly, the Nate Frazier one. But this team's been taking care of the football. They just got to get out to a faster start. I mean, I really do think it comes down to that. Georgia should be able to win this game. They should be able to win this game by 10 points. I don't think Ole Miss is that much better than Alabama. I think that all of these teams towards the tops, they're all in similar universes in terms of kind of talent level and the way they've been executing this season. So for Georgia, I think execution and quick start. It's playing good enough, well enough to beat Ole Miss. I have seen enough to where I know Georgia can do that. It's just a matter of if they execute. I think they take care of the football and keep it on the ground for the most part. But if that doesn't work, then that's where your problem comes.
Yeah, I think this could be another game that comes down to possibly 5 or 6 plays. I think there's going to be some critical coaching moments in this game. I think, which team converts their big 4th down in the 4th quarter, which team can hit the long field goal when it matters most, which team can get the 3rd down stops. So I think it's the little things, the details are really going to matter in this game. And again, that's where I think Georgia playing at home is going to help them, and playing against an inexperienced quarterback in this environment is going to help them. But it could come down to who makes the key plays on 3rd and 4th down when the game is in the balance. I do think it'll probably be a 4th quarter game. We're going to go into the 4th quarter not exactly sure who's going to win. Maybe one team has an edge. I feel like that's going to be Georgia, but turnovers are going to be big, and winning those crucial moments, those crucial plays towards the end of the game will determine the winner.
Yeah, I'm not as sure. I think it could be more decisive than that. I don't. For me, I feel like I know Georgia well enough that they no matter what Kirby team we're talking about, 16, 17, whatever, they always have a home game where they just really throttle somebody that's a good team. Typically Auburn in 16, Mississippi State in 17. They were a 3-point favorite over Mississippi State in 17. I was like, why is that so low? I can't remember 18. 19 was a big win over Notre Dame. That was about it, though. They have games each season where they just play well at home and the other team really just doesn't have much chance. That could happen this game, but if it doesn't, I still think they're the better team. We're no longer in a universe in the SEC where one team is just so noticeably better than anyone else. Hey, look, Ryan has disappeared somehow. That means it's time for us to end our program. We'll see you after the game. Thanks for watching.